Hey everybody, Sean from Silicon Theory here, and back again at you after a little bit of time being away, after being sick for about a week. I am now back and almost 100%. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with Facebook and why it matters so much. So, as you've probably heard, there was a story out a couple of days ago about how a group called Cambridge Analytics was in possession of several hundreds of millions of people's data that they had mined from Facebook and were using for targeted advertisements and things of that nature. Facebook found out about this, and they knew that the data was being mined inappropriately, let's say, and did nothing about it for approximately 2 years. Now, Zuckerberg went on a promotional tour recently and basically said he was sorry that this had happened and wanted to take some steps to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And honestly, that's not good enough. We really need to take a little bit of a deeper look into what's going on here and make sure that people understand what it is that Facebook's actually doing. So, for a lot of people, and I saw several tweets recently about this, but not necessarily in the United States, but outside the United States, Facebook is the internet for these people. And the fact that targeted ads and targeted surveys, I guess for lack of a better word, actually that's exactly what they were, was surveys, but these targeted surveys were being used to collect people's data and build profiles about them and using that information quasi against their will. Now, Facebook definitely has an obligation to pursue and to mitigate the improper use of this data that's in possession of other people, especially shortly after they find out about it. And certainly they have an obligation to not sit on this information for in excess of 2 years. I saw a lot of comments on a lot of forums basically saying, Zuckerberg said, "I'm sorry that that this happened," and what he really meant was, "I'm sorry that this happened and we got caught doing it." So there's probably a lot of truth to that, but the end result is that the question we really need to be asking ourselves is, how can we be in control of our data and make sure that we take back what it is that we want to keep private from organizations like Facebook? And you can look around. The guy who founded WhatsApp and got rich by becoming a billionaire selling it to Facebook has even come out and said, you need to #delete Facebook. This is not possible for many people. And ask yourself, is Facebook something that you could go without on a daily basis? I mean, there are billions of active users on Facebook, and this is how many people get their primary source of news, their primary source of information connecting to their family, their primary source of connection to the world. As I said earlier, there are countries where Facebook is the internet in a very real sense. And to that extent, although Zuckerberg does welcome some kind of regulatory relief, there really does need to be some moderation, some curation, if you will, of what's going on with Facebook. And Zucker says he doesn't want to be the arbiter of free speech, and he doesn't want to have to decide what's hate speech and what's not. Let's start with what's real and what's not. And let's start filtering out the fake news, and let's start looking at an algorithm that doesn't necessarily serve the best interests of Facebook's ad platforms. But let's talk about what's serving the best interests of the people who are actually using Facebook. It's a social network, and that means that it's designed to be used by and for the people who participate in it. It is now more than ever an ad engine and a revenue stream for lots of different companies, and I don't think those two goals are aligned very well. It's a process where you have something that has seriously outstripped and outgrown what it was originally intended to be. And what it's grown into is not necessarily something that a lot of people even like anymore. I manage the Facebook account for Silicon Theory, and I don't really read or use Facebook for much beyond that because of all the problems that I've had with it. The changes in the feed, the changes in the way that the ads are displayed, and quite honestly, they're a very blatant attempt to pay for play in terms of promoting content. People who have the ability to do this are going to get seen, and the people who can't don't. And I don't know that that necessarily is a good thing. So we need to all be asking ourselves, what do we really use Facebook for? Can we find other ways to connect with our family and friends? And how do we make sure that Facebook is delivering to us what we really want out of it? And That's really what it boils down to is, can Facebook go back to being really what we want it to be? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that, but feel free to sound off in the comments below and let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you gently press that thumbs up button. And if you want more of our content, make sure you hit the button that looks like our logo in the corner so that you can subscribe. You can find all of our content over at silicontheory.com. You can follow us on social. We are at Silicon Theory on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And remember, we'll talk tech soon.